Welcome to Excalibur Online Global Speakers. I am your Sergeant at Arms today. We have a fabulous lineup of speeches today, and we'll have table topics as well. You can see on the screen as we've named each other, named ourselves, put who we are, what we're doing, and where we're joining from, because we are a global online club. Getting ready to charter soon, and we want to celebrate our charter members whenever we have a chance. If you've not become a charter member yet, you might want to sign up. Put your email into the chat if you're interested and say sign me up, and we'll follow up with you after the meeting. For now, please let me hand over to our president. Please welcome to the screen, Andrew Bennett.
Competition is a good thing. It encourages us to do our best. Those are the words of an American author called Nancy Pearcey. Welcome to Excalibur Online Global Speakers, our advanced club meeting. And we have a theme this evening, and the theme is the competing public speaker. Thousands of Toastmasters within our organisation, Toastmasters International, are currently flexing their muscles as speakers in the contests. It's time for contest season, and as club succeeds to area and area to division and division to district and hopefully onto the world stage, well, the excitement increases, but also the pressure. Our speakers need resilience, they need focus, and above all, they need discernment. Discernment to assess and apply the feedback that they are given along the way. And our very special club, well, we aim to help with that contest level of preparation, especially at this time of the year. And that's why at the last meeting, Lynne, our sponsor, and myself, we led Evaluate Like a Champion. And it was great fun that we even extended in an advanced club our evaluation skills, and I'm looking forward to seeing the fruit of that this evening in this particular meeting. If you are a guest with us this evening, please do have a pen and paper handy, or maybe a second device, and you can take notes about the speeches that you are going to hear. And later we'll be sharing this in an open feedback session, in addition to the formal evaluations that take place in our meeting too. I have the privilege of introducing to you the Toastmaster who will guide us through this meeting session. I've got a memory of this person sitting alongside her some years ago in Kew Gardens in London, and she was working on a very special speaking project. And I also have a memory that she was working with the children of the Tibetan community to increase and help them with their public speaking skills at that time too. We're delighted to have her as club secretary. I would like you to unmute, give her lots of applause, press your reaction buttons, because we are welcoming onto this virtual stage now our Toastmaster for the evening, Pemma Fox.
Thank you very much, Andrew, and good evening, everybody. It's really lovely to see you all here. And as Toastmasters, we can be so proud of ourselves. I listened to a speech by Reese Witherspoon, the actress, today, and she said most people don't know what they truly want. They do jobs they don't want. But I think that a lot of us know that we can speak, and that is a skill we have here, which we are going to hear in abundance tonight as we focus our attention on the speakers and give them our best listening ear. I am going to invite to the stage several people who are going to help me with this meeting. And the first person I invite is John Akers, our VPE, hailing all the way from Blackpool in England, to introduce our guests. Please come to the stage, John.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. Well, at Excalibur, we like to have as many guests as possible to experience what we have to offer. and preferably guests from as far afield as possible. And we do have some guests here this evening, so I would like, when I call out your name, if you're a guest, if you'd like to just briefly introduce yourself in a sentence and just say what brings you here tonight. So let's start with Daniel, who I know is here as a guest. Daniel.
Good evening, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and sharp swords of Excalibur. My name's Daniel Arder. I am on the Dynamic Leadership Pathway, level 3, so I'm newly absconded from the previous level, so scraped into the entry requirements for this prestigious club. Why am I here? I'm going to return to that theme of sharpening because I think of Stephen R. Covey and what he said about sharpening the saw. And therefore, if this is the anvil, you are the blacksmiths, I'll be the apprentice. So I'm here to learn and ready to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Gail, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me as your guest. What an introduction to follow, Daniel. How am I going to compete with that? That was amazing. I've recently, I finished a pathway. I'd love to tell you what it is, but I can never remember the name of the pathway that I've done. So I'm starting a new one, but I've also moved house. So I thought it would be easier for me to go online because there's no local Toastmasters. So here I am and looking forward to this evening and hearing you all speak.
Thank you very much, Gail. Tina, would you like to introduce yourself? Is Tina there?
Yes, I'm here. I will try to put my speaker up. Can you all hear me loud and clear?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, my name is Tina Norbury. I belong to Headingley, and strictly speaking, I'm based in Harrogate, North Yorkshire, been a Toastmaster for 13 years. And I see loads of very familiar faces all over here, the ones I was a member with in another club. Lovely to be here this evening.
Thank you very much, Tina. Patricia, you're a guest tonight, I think. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, thank you for allowing me to join this session. This is my first Toastmaster session. So yes, I'm here to improve my speaking skills, and yeah, I'm just happy to have this opportunity to learn from all of you. So thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. I think that's all our guests, I'm not sure whether Billy Kisu is a member yet or not. If you're a guest, Billy Kisu, could you say hello? I may be pronouncing your name incorrectly. I apologize if so. No, he's not online, I think, at the moment. So, okay, right. Well, in that case, I'll pass you back to our Toastmaster, Pemma. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, John, for introducing our guests, and welcome guests. Please, thank you so much for introducing yourselves and telling us a bit about who you are and why you are here. The next person who's going to help me to run this meeting efficiently is our Sergeant-at-Arms, Samir Malak, who hails all the way from London. Samir is also a very special person because he's also our charter sponsor, half of us charter sponsor. So please welcome to the virtual stage, Samir, to give us a time. I left that bit out.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pemma. Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, I will be your timer for today. As our theme is the competing public speaker, timing is crucial when you're competing in public speaking. Whether you're doing table topics for 1 minute, 1 minute 30 to 2 minutes, or public speeches for 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, or you're evaluating for 2, 2.5, and 3 minutes. If you go 30 seconds before start or over 30 seconds after, you won't be competing anymore. You won't have qualified. So In our Toastmasters clubs, we practice this. I'll be providing timings and signals to our speakers. When they've reached the minimum time, I'll present the green signal. When they've reached the middle time, which is the kind of signal to begin your denouement and start winding down and coming to your conclusion, then when you've got the red, you've got 30 seconds left to wrap it up and deliver. I'll be coming back at the end or throughout to give a report on how we've done with time. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mr. Timekeeper. We now move on to a very exciting part of our meeting. And to take us through this portion, I'd like to invite you to welcome a very special lady who has been a past president, hailing all the way from Pittsburgh in the US. Please welcome Beverly Wise, who's going to take us through the table topic section. Welcome, Beverly, to the stage.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Pemma. And it's so good to see all your bright, shiny faces. I was told that today's word of the day was focus. And our table topics are all about focus. There are various forms of relaxation, self-hypnosis, or meditation that involve focus, an internal focus, a focus on a particular sensory experience. I'm going to sneeze. Well, that gives you all something else to focus on. Okay, one moment. God, I love to make an entrance. Okay, there are various ways of using an internal focus or a sensory focus to relax, to meditate. What do you do when you need to relax? How do you cope? Let me ask Theresa.
Thank you so much for this question, because one of the things that I do professionally is teach people how to relax. And the easiest way to do that is simply take a breath. And by that, I mean an intentional, a deliberate breath, not like we normally breathe, but a full breath. And I could easily demonstrate it. All you have to do, inhale deeply through your nose to the count of 8. Hold it for a couple of seconds. And then slowly exhale through your mouth to the count of 8. What you do is you automatically activate your vagus nerve. And your vagus nerve is your parasympathetic nervous system. And that's what promotes peace and calm. So whenever you need a quick pick-me-up, a relaxation, simply take that deep breath, pause for a moment, and exhale. You'll be surprised how much better you feel. And it's an automatic, simple way, that costs absolutely no money whatsoever to learn it, no money to practice it, and no money to keep doing it. So it is essential and it works beautifully. You can also pair that with some quiet time for yourself and simply close your eyes and just breathe in and out. That's another way to promote peace and relaxation. If you're driving, I would tell you take the deep breath, because it's a little hard if you're stuck in traffic. You may want to just close your eyes and forget about everything, but it's not recommended because traffic may start moving and then you'll be left behind. So we could do it one more time. Inhale to the count of 8. Exhale through your mouth to the count of 8. Simple, purposeful, and it works. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Theresa. And part of our wonderful club is immediate evaluations of the table topics. So for up to 45 seconds, may we have an evaluation of Theresa's response? Mirko.
Thank you, Beverly. Such a wonderful topic. Why? Because today we had an expert in this. And if we see how Aristotle divided the important pillars of a speech, we had ethos, which is credibility. We had credibility because Theresa works with this. And then we had logos, which are facts. And she shared the vagus nerve. It was important. But what we need more to totally persuade us is pathos. Pathos is passion, and it can be used with a story. I'm sure she has a lot of story to tell us and tell how her clients are changed in doing so. And then we will be more persuaded. Back to you, Beverly.
Wonderful. Thank you so very, very much. They have just invented a telescope that allows us to focus on the first known inhabited planet other than our own. And you have won the lottery to be the first person to look through it and describe what you see. Let's give this one to Daniel. What do you see as you focus through this new telescope?
Is there life on Mars? Or would you prefer Uranus? I think I better not delve into that one, otherwise I might get into trouble, so I better focus and get back on topic. So where were we? I believe that we were looking at Mars. You think of those pot marks, the red sparkle, that distant star in the sky. And when I think of Mars, you'd be tempted to think of Mars bars, but not those kinds of Mars bars, but maybe bars could be in Mars. Who knows? There might be scars. But if I was looking at Mars, I'd be gazing upon its delightful visage and trying to make sense of what might await us on that terrain. Whether Elon Musk is sending a vehicle to do a recce for us, or whether space tourists may well be underway to visit this climb and to start developing and terraforming. I hope it's not terrifying, but I hope that it will be enjoyable to discover life on Mars. So with that, I'll leave you with one more thought. And that is, if you were able to traverse the universe and to discover life elsewhere, I hope that we have the technology to accompany the imaginative sensibility that will enable us to once more enjoy life on Mars. Madam Topic Master.
Thank you very much, Daniel. And now for an instant evaluation. John?
Thank you, Beverly. Well, Daniel came right in with a bit of humor. He said, and a question as well. Is there life on Mars? And he made excellent use of rhymes as well. Mars, bars, stars, and so on. Very interesting and witty response. So excellent stuff there. I would recommend, however, that Daniel actually paints an actual picture of what he actually sees on Mars, because we didn't really get much of that. And the question was, what do you see? And Daniel didn't really answer that. But nonetheless, it was a very witty and interesting answer. So very well done, Daniel. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, John. Agnes. I had a microscope as a kid, and I got to look at water, at the things in water. I've been drinking wine ever since. What is your experience, especially your early experience, with the sciences, and how does it affect you today?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. I also had a microscope when I was very young. I didn't actually have a microscope. I pinched my big brother's microscope and also looked at water that I found in just little puddles in the garden and was fascinated by the creatures that I found there. I did not turn to wine. It didn't actually occur to me to be worried about this. I thought it was fantastic. All that you could see, if you just tore a little piece of paper and looked at the little edges through a microscope, anything through a microscope was just overwhelmingly fantastic. Now, you asked me about my scientific experience. I am a scientist. This is not the reason I became a scientist. I'm trying to think about why. I think it was just my natural tendency to become a scientist and eventually a mathematician. But I just love all the sciences, physics, biology, geology, chemistry, whatever you want. To understand the world around us is just the greatest, in fact, the greatest way of focusing and having relaxation that I can imagine. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Agnes. I don't know about you. You sound kind of gullible to me. I mean, really, seriously. Let's see, where am I? Oh, yes. One can make a fire by focusing the sun's rays.
What about an evaluator?
Oh, I'm very sorry about that. Yes, yes. Who did I have down here? Oh, yes, I had Tina. Are you willing and able to evaluate Agnes's table topic?
I'll try.
Thank you.
Agnes, I like that you came and told us what you did as a child, as a personal story, and also a bit of humor where you stole your brother's where you stole your brother's status, where you stole your brother's something. But then what I really liked is that you went on to explain what you did. So you gave us a timeline from when you were little, the things you did, and that you went on later on, and your love for maths. I would have wanted to hear more about a specific thing in maths, maybe an equation, just bamboozle us a little and just get our heads cracking so that we can really have something tangible that Agnes really is a mathematician. Otherwise, lovely speech and thank you.
Thank you so much, Tina. Now back to my fire. If you take the sun's rays and focus them through a magnifying glass and you have the right stuff underneath it, you can set fires. You can start a fire that way. One of those wonderful things to know when you're out camping. What is your experience starting campfires or any other kind of fire and or camping? Hang on. Patricia. You up for this? Please unmute yourself.
Okay, I'll try. My experience at a campfire was at a very young age when I was in the Girl Guides, where we had a lovely opportunity to go to Avery Hill campsite in Greenwich, in London, where I live. It was a lovely time. We had lots of trees and grass around us, so we had time to think about what different activities we'd like to do throughout the day. And then in the evening, whilst we were thinking about what we're going to eat, they started to make a campfire, and I was able to join and get some materials together, and they taught us how to make a fire, which was really great for a young child to do. And it was amazing to see just how you could make one, because normally you're not allowed to do things like that as a young child. So as I started to put the pieces together and the fire lit, I was really excited by seeing the flame. And then my brother, who was also in campsite, but on a different side, I was able to, at the end of the whole thing, able to go and talk to him and let him know exactly what happened and what I did. So I was really excited to do that.
Wonderful. What a great experience. Thank you for sharing that with us. And now, a super duper evaluator to evaluate your speech. Samir? Unmute yourself, please.
I'm timer, Bev. Can I defer to another, please?
You can certainly defer. Let's see.
Thank you.
Let's see if we can get Gail to do this one. Willing and able?
Yes, I'll give it a go.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Patricia, that was lovely. Straight away in with her experience of the fight, and it was lovely, good storytelling with the Girl Guides and a nice visual, the trees and the activities. So it kind of took us there. And yeah, I think she answered the question beautifully. It was clearly a good memory and an original experience as well. She clearly remembers it really well because it was her first time, which I think answers your question really well. Thank you, Patricia. Fantastic.
Thank you very much, Gail. We have some very, very brave and erudite guests today. I'm very happy to see you all here. Madam Toastmaster, would you like one more question or shall we move on? How are we doing schedule-wise?
I think all the guests have had an opportunity to speak, and I think we're on time with our schedule. So maybe we'll move on. Thank you, Beverly.
Hey, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, so bravely and eruditely focusing on what was the topics and the evaluations and giving us a wonderful occasion to listen. I will now ask Samir, our timekeeper, to please tell us, Samir, please give us the timings of the topics and the evaluations.
Madam Toastmaster, it'd be my pleasure to provide that report at this time. I will do one by one speaker and evaluator. Theresa Palmer with What Do You Do to Relax? Came in at 2 minutes, 16 seconds. Mirko Adamo with a flash evaluation finished at 49 seconds. Daniel Arda described what he saw on the first inhabited planet when he focused through the telescope, and he came through at 1 minute, 20 seconds. John Akers provided the evaluation at 39 seconds. Then we had Agnes Bosovitz telling us about early experiences with the sciences at 1 minute, 17 seconds. And then we had a flash evaluation from Tina Norbury at 55 seconds. Finally, Patricia Oke told us about her experiences starting fires and camping. She delivered her table topic in 1 minute, 21 seconds. And then we had a flash evaluation from Gail Cooper at 23 seconds. Back to you, Madam Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Samir. And now we will have a vote for whom we thought was the best topics giver. And if you look, is that the form there, Samir?
That's the form in the chat.
If you click on the chat, click on that link, and it'll give you to choose who we think the best evaluator was, the best topic person was. Do you have them all back?
They're coming in. I'm waiting on one more response, please. And we didn't hear from Billy, so maybe we call it at that.
Okay.
And I've notified our president of the winner.
Thank you very much. We are now going to focus on the most exciting and important part of our speakers. Not that all you evaluators weren't great, you were, and maybe in time you will be taking the speech space. We have 3 exciting speeches. All the speakers will be going in for competitions. And the first speaker we have this evening is our own Chris Billington from the Excalibur Speakers in-person club. It's a competition speech, and it'll be 7 minutes on the clock. It's from District 91 in London. We are absolutely delighted to welcome the winner of the Excalibur Speakers in Person International Speech Contest as our first speaker this evening. Chris is keen for us to listen to his current draft and receive feedback to help him focus and deliver a stellar performance at the area level. Come on, let's all help to get him through to the division level. With his 7-minute speech entitled No Guarantees, please join me in welcoming Chris to our virtual stage.
There's something I carry with me that makes ordinary things extraordinary. And it's this small red sock. Tonight, when I get home, I will find a pile of unwashed dishes, a very tired woman, and almost certainly a nappy that needs changing. And if I'm honest with you, I can't wait. As I deal with that diaper full of dirty protest, I'll remember that I was almost too afraid to choose this family life. In 2018, I was in love. My fiance was pregnant. We lived by the sea. And then our daughter, Annabelle, was born. And the word home started to mean hospitals. We thought, what can we do? So we asked the Archbishop of Canterbury for special permission to get married at 3 days' notice so Annabelle could be there. He said yes, the old romantic. So we were married in a hospital chapel with an incubator at the front and a pediatric intensive care nurse as an unofficial bridesmaid. The Bishop of Southwark gave us a blessing, and I have got absolutely no idea who wangled that one. I also have no recollection of a single word that he said, but everybody remembers that he gave the blessing with his flies undone. That was not in the rehearsal. We laughed, right? As everyone laughed. And then we waited. One day, Annabelle was asleep in my arms, and then she wasn't. The doctors said that we'd lost a bet in the casino of genetics. And from that day forward, I carried a red sock in my pocket. We decided to roll the dice again. And we lost again. That was my son, Ren. I'd love to tell you that this adversity strengthened our marriage. I'd love to tell you that, but it didn't. So I did what any self-respecting, dignified, middle-aged man does in a crisis. I moved back in with my parents. And sitting on a child-sized chair at a childhood desk, I realized that I wasn't just grieving. I was actually afraid of love itself. Because the more you love, the more you risk being hurt. Fear whispered to me, don't risk it again. Stay small, stay safe. Maybe you've heard that voice too. But there was something that fear had missed. I was still their father. Because being a father does not stop when a child dies. And as a father, the love does not stop either. I still had love, right? I still had life. And I could honor them, not by hiding from life, but by living it. So I did what many self-respecting, dignified, middle-aged men do when they've bounced off rock bottom. I bought myself some expensive trainers and I started running. Now, years later, and this is years later, at Folkestone Park Run in Kent, I met a beautiful woman called Kirsty. I had at this point run one marathon. She had run 6. All of hers were faster than my one. She'd been on her own emotional journey too. And it took me weeks to ask her out. Not because I was shy, but because this one mattered. I rehearsed it for days, and one hot sunny Saturday I said, I'm going for a swim in the sea. Would you like to join me? And her response was, but I don't have my swimsuit. I said, that doesn't matter. We swam in our running kit and we dried in the sun. 2 damp, middle-aged optimists, a little vulnerable, but laughing anyway. She was patient with the parts of me that were still broken. And you're going to enjoy this bit. 12 weeks ago, our daughter was born. And she's healthy. She does have a cry like a smoke alarm, but when she smiles, everything just stops for a moment. Now, tonight, when I go home, to the dishes in the sink, to the tired woman I love, I will hold a small, ordinary miracle in my arms. Fear still asks, what if it happens again, Chris? Would you survive it? And the honest answer is, I don't know. But this reminds me, I still have love. I still have life. And I choose both. Life does not give guarantees, and love does not ask for them. And neither do I. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Chris, for that amazing speech. Mr. Timekeeper, may we have a minute on the clock, please, so we can give our feedback to Chris if we choose in the chat.
You have it.
Thank you. I forgot to mention that Chris was hailing all the way from the deepest, darkest Norfolk in the United Kingdom. Our second speaker is Krishn Ramchurn, who will also be delivering a 7-minute competition speech. Krishn joins us all the way from Mauritius in the Indian Ocean. Krishn is currently working on a speech for the International Speech Contest at division level in District 129. Krishn is looking for a no-holds-barred evaluation and would like his evaluator and us to provide him feedback on the following. 1. Is his emotional journey clear? Is his message clear? Is there a logical flow to his speech? With the 7-minute speech entitled, Do You Mean It? Please join me in welcoming Krishn to our virtual stage.
Time is not a line. It is a circle, a hand that lets go, then reaches back to find ours again. And if we are lucky, it gives us another chance to fix what we missed the first time, especially with the people who matter to us. Contest chair, ladies and gentlemen, let me take you back to where it all began for me. My mother. Mom was the entertainer of our family. She didn't say much about love. She showed it. And she always stood up for me, the kid who was always up to no good. Whenever I messed up, and that was at least once a week, she took the brunt of the complaints from friends and family. And every single time, Mom at the end would hold my hand, look me in the eyes, and say, next time, do better. And I really didn't care, because all I could think of then was the next mischief. While she was fighting for me, Mum was also fighting something else. A tumor that grew and grew until one day took her away. I was 15, and I thought I could handle it until I saw my friends with their parents. And something inside me cracked, because there were 3 words I had never said to my mother. And now that she was gone, so was the chance to say them. What I felt wasn't guilt. It was sadness and guilt, because in my head, I could still hear the words I wanted to tell her. But in real life, my mother would never hear them. I hadn't just lost Mom, I had lost a moment. Life moves on. I got a degree, got a job, got married. Now, let me be clear. I loved my wife from the start, and that wasn't the problem. The problem, although my love was real, was that my voice wasn't. Now, I was already a Toastmaster. I could deliver a 7-minute speech, great opening, strong body, amazing close. But with 3 tiny words, I was ahs and ums. I tried, I paused, I bailed. The first time I hid behind flowers. The second time, chocolate. The third time, a teddy bear. I wasn't confessing. I was camouflaging. Then one day, I said the 3 words. No props, no safety net, just me. And in that moment, my wife just held my hand, looked me in the eyes, and asked, do you really mean it? While I was trying to shout, yes, in my mind, on my face, it was still negotiation, because love without courage sounds like a performance. And that what it exactly was in that silence, a performance. And I heard a voice from years ago. Next time, do better. Mom's words. Here I was, a grown man who could speak, motivate, influence strangers, but couldn't speak to the person who mattered to me. Not because I didn't love my wife, but because every time I tried, I would feel the words rise and then I would swallow them. I would mouth them and they would disappear. The man who could speak to a room couldn't speak to one person. No longer a Toastmaster, now a Toast disaster. It's funny. It's really funny until you realize what it's costing you. For years, those 3 words stayed locked inside me until the day my daughter was born. The nurse placed her in my arms, her fingers wrapped around mine. I'd spent years treating those 3 words like a risk, and now I didn't feel the pressure. I looked at my daughter and I heard my mom's voice. Do better. And this time I understood what it meant, what she meant. Mom wasn't asking me to achieve more. She was asking me to love better. Not later, but now. And this is the point I want to leave you with as I shared it with my daughter. I love you. And when I told her that, I meant it. And the point is this: the love we do not speak becomes love unfelt. Not because it is not there, but because our loved ones, they do not hear them. The words I struggled to say to my mother, to my wife, and the first time I told them to my daughter, now every single day, I leave house for work, I get back home, I hang up the phone, I'm telling my daughter and my wife, I love you. Now, just the other day, my daughter asked me, Dad, why do you always say, I love you? I held her hand, looked her in the eyes, because I never want you to doubt it. Ladies and gentlemen, if there are 3 words or maybe more waiting in your heart, let those who matter to you hear them again and again. Because sometimes time brings us back to the same moment, and sometimes it doesn't. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Krishn. Thank you. And Samir, may we have a minute on the clock, please, for everybody to give some feedback?
You shall have it.
Thank you.
That's 1 minute done, Madam Toastmaster.
Okay, sorry, again. Our third and final speaker will be delivering a speech from the Pathways Engaging Humor, Connecting with Storytelling. From District 107, Mirko Adamo, from all the way from Barcelona, is competing at club level, starting out on the contest process. Almost a PhD in battery science, Mirko helps batteries to not explode. But there was a time when the one under pressure was him. He was the shy engineer who turned red like a tomato when speaking, staying silent even when he knew the answer, until he realized he didn't need to prove his value to speak. Today, Mirko helps engineers and professionals express their ideas with clarity and confidence so that their ideas don't die in silence and they never explode on stage. With a 7-minute speech entitled The Answer, please join me in welcoming Mirko to our virtual stage.
I wake up in a hostel at 5 a.m. with 12 strangers. It smells like beer, vodka, and farts. I can't sleep because I have 12 hours left. Yes, friends, by 5 p.m. I will be homeless. I'm in Dublin, far away from my family, but still needing them, as usual. I grew up in a small town in south of Italy, trapped in the safety net of my family. In Italy, it's no strange to be living at your parents' house for 40 years. Forget about mafia, we are big mama's boy. But after graduation, I want to build my own life, starting with my career. So I told my dad, Dad, I'm leaving. And he said, oh no. So I took all my savings and I flew to Dublin. 1 month in Dublin, I can't find a job. I can't find accommodation. I can't speak English. Thanks God, people think that Italian is sexy. I have 300 euros to my name. I know it sounds like a lot, but Dublin is a ripoff. This hostel with 12 strangers cost me 12 euros. You know, friends, €1 per fart. But tonight will cost me 50 euros because of Alcoholics Day. St. Patrick's Day. 10 hours left until I'm homeless. Usually I would call my parents. They always have the answer to my problem. But I take my laptop and I sign up on Facebook host family group. I need a bed desperately by today. Nobody responds for 2 hours. 8 hours left until I'm homeless. I get a message. Maria says, you can come to my place at 1 p.m. I don't know, guys, if you fully understand how special it is for the Italian man to be saved by a lady named Maria. Relief. Hope. I drive my 2 big suitcases to Starbucks where I meet Maria. And just as I get there, I get a new message. I'm sorry, Mirko. I can't host you anymore. Apparently was the wrong Maria. It's the first time today I start to myself to panic, feel to panic, and I hear voice saying, call your parents, call your parents. They have the answer. The only thing I am able to do is to charge my laptop, because I don't know, guys, if the place where I would be tonight has electricity. 12 p.m., 5 hours left until I'm homeless. 1 hour later, I step out into the streets of Dublin. And as I walk around, going nowhere and everywhere at the same time, I think about my parents. As usual, I need them because I've never been able to face life on my own. And it's a horrible feeling having to choose between fear and shame. I say time, there is one thing that gives me comfort, and it's the knowledge that while I'm dragging 2 suitcases through the streets, they dragged 2 children through life without a safety net or money or connections. Maybe it's in my blood to meet the challenge. Excuse me, sir. Are you okay? You seem lost. A middle-aged lady. 2 hours left until I'm homeless. I'm looking for a bed. I have a room, but do you have references? I don't know what references are. I only ever lived with my parents. So I say, yes, man, I have references. At my new home, I drop my 2 suitcases and I go to the mirror and I start to cry. Because for the first time, I didn't look for someone to solve my problem. I became the answer. Friends, life is easier when we are not responsible for the answers, when we can call someone to fix it, to decide, to rescue us. Expert friends, parents, even ChatGPT. You don't grow when someone answers for you. You grow when you find the answers for yourself. And when you do, you stop waiting, you stop hesitating, you start moving. I know this firsthand because even though I found an apartment, I still didn't have a job. Same problem, different miracle. Next time life gives you a problem, before you look for someone, look at yourself first. Trust that you are enough to meet the challenge. Because life begins the moment you stop waiting and start deciding. Contextual.
Thank you very much, Mirko. Okay. And Samir, could we have a minute on the clock, please?
You shall have it.
Thank you. Thank you, Samir. We now have an opportunity. We've heard 3 fantastic speeches, and we now have an opportunity to vote. And we will get the vote link in the chat, hopefully, in a minute, and we can cast our votes. Thank you. In the chat, we can just click it and send your vote through to Samir. They all through?
We're about halfway there. They're coming through. I'm looking for 3 more. Ooh, 2 more. I think we can call it at that. We've gotten 15 of 16. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. We now go on to a very, very special part and a very important part of being a Toastmaster, and that's how we listen and focus. And we just had the most amazing evaluation workshop at the last meeting, so we have that to practice. The first evaluator will be Andrew, our president, hailing all the way from London, United Kingdom, who will be evaluating Chris's speech, No Guarantees. Please welcome Andrew to the virtual stage.
A red child's sock, showing how ordinary things can become extraordinary to us. I want to thank Chris this evening for the honesty with which he shared his story this evening. This was a story that touches the heart, and it was delivered in a conversational tone that was particularly intimate and that I appreciated greatly. What could be more intimate than those 3 little words that Chris said? I don't know. And the way he said them when he got to that part of the story. That intimacy is something I'd like him to continue when he goes into the in-person context for the next round of the speech contests. It draws me close to Chris, the speaker. We also had a lightening of humour. We had stories of archbishops with their flies down. That was a nice touch too. It just leavened the whole story so that we could even appreciate even more the touching elements. I have some recommendations this evening. Firstly, in terms of pacing. Occasionally as an audience member, I need a few seconds after one of the sentences. For instance, when Chris said she was there and then she wasn't. I need that time. I need that second. It seems a long while to the speaker, but in fact, it's very brief for the audience. So just to hold the moment a little longer. Key points of vocal variation that we could extend. Now, Chris is on a new version of his script this evening, so he's reading a little bit. And that will extend too, I know. But for instance, we could have a greater contrast with afraid of love. And then maybe we could hear the voice inside saying, stay safe. Maybe it could have that more whispered quality to it with the articulation to accompany it, that we can just extend the vocal aspect of the speech. And finally, I was thinking about Chris's physical presence. There is a definite change of mien, of physicality in this speech. It comes with that phrase, self-respecting, dignified, middle-aged man. It arrives twice in the speech. So it's, I was a self-respecting, middle-aged man. Physically, I change in that moment, the 2 times. It helps us to show that actually Chris's battle was with himself at that moment. So I would like to see that change of mien. Pacing and pauses, extending the vocal contrast. Contrast of mien, of physicality. These are all areas that Chris can look at as he moves on to his area contest. This speech touches me incredibly, and I'm so glad that Chris is not afraid to share what can be a difficult story with us. He's going into the deep, difficult places, and no, I don't mean Norfolk. So he's going into the deep, difficult places with this story tonight, and it really does touch me greatly. Chris chooses life, Chris chooses love, and so do we alongside him.
Thank you, Andrew. Our next evaluator with the no hold barred evaluation of Krishn's speech is our wonderful Theresa Palmer, who comes all the way from Alabama in the USA. Evaluating Krishn's speech, do you mean it? Please welcome Theresa to the stage.
Excuse me. Time gives us another chance to fix what happened to us. How powerful is that as an opener? Very powerful. And it connects the audience immediately to the speaker. I welcome Krishn and all our honored guests today. Krishn has a way about him. He's got charisma. He connects very easily to an audience, and that's a huge plus. So you put those two things together, a very strong opening sentence and his charisma, and right away you've got a winner. Krishn wanted to know, was his emotional journey clear? Yes, it was clear, and I'll get into a few recommendations. Now, regarding the clear message, some of you may say, and I thought at first, the clear message would be that he couldn't say, I love you, that that's the message. But no, the message to me really was, about taking love for granted, that he took the love for granted. Not the fact that he couldn't say the words, but the fact that he took it for granted. I like that. I think that's a powerful, clear message. As far as recommendations, the flow was good. He had a nice flow. His cadence, the speech cadence was very well done. What would be areas for improvement? And of course, we're talking no holes barred. So the first thing I would say, and I wish I had an answer, was what's the title? Do you mean it? I don't think really fit in with the speech. I wish I could give you another title, but I too am stuck on a title. So I'm giving you a recommendation and I'm breaking my own rule of not giving you a way to fix it. But it is something to think about. The other thing is, I would leave out the part about Toastmasters. I know sometimes in speeches, people do add about Toastmasters, but I would leave it out. I don't think it had any place in this speech at all. I think the crux of the speech was about taking love for granted, not being able to say it. And then with the miracle of your daughter being born, you were able to come back to that. That's where that circle completed itself, and you were able to say those words. So I would not say anything about Toastmasters. The interactions with your wife, what you could say was that although you loved her a lot, perhaps you didn't show it, or perhaps you took that for granted, that she should automatically know that you loved her without you really expressing it. So that would be another area. The other thing I would say is, I know you said you had 3 speeches ready. Truthfully, I liked your speech before about the cape being too heavy. I like that speech better than this one. I think this one needs to be stronger to make that impact at the division level. If it were the club contest, the in-person online club contest, or the area, I think you could get away with it. But once you start going up there, it has to be totally strong. It has to be a totally tight, impactful speech that absolutely leaves no room for ambiguity. Oh, I can't say that word. Forget it. Leaves no room for that. And leaves no room to let people wonder. So this is something to think about. And overall, I love the way you deliver. You've got a lot of charisma Krishn, use it in the speech and use it on that stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Theresa, for that powerful feedback. Okay, we now have all the way from Canberra, Australia. Isn't Excalibur wonderful? We have this international cast. We have Agnes, all the way from Canberra, going to evaluate Merc Amo's speech. Merc's speech, the answer. Please welcome Agnes.
Before I start, can I just confirm the pronunciation? Is it Mirko or Mirko? Can't hear you. The second one. Thank you. Okay, I'll start now. Thank you, Mirko, for that speech. Let's look within ourselves for the answers to our questions. What a meaningful and important message. How did Mirko achieve that message? I thought the most important part was the personal story. The personal story building up gradually through all the tension and trying to work out what he's going to do. And I especially liked the aspect of building up the tension by, I've got 12 hours, then 8 hours, then 5 hours. It added to the tension of what's going to happen with the 2 suitcases and the young man. Within that tension, nonetheless, there was a little bit of humour. And it's always that good, in my view, to add a little bit of light humour. You know, Italians are sexy. We all know that. And that came through beautifully. Mirko's words also were beautiful. I've just noted down, for example, between fear and shame, 2 suitcases and 2 children, the comparison between himself and his parents. Stop waiting and start deciding. It all worked just beautifully. A little recommendation from Mirko. We had the message of making decisions, and the hint of where we're heading what I'm recommending is that where we're heading, we should have a hint of that right at the beginning. So that what we were heading towards is how are we going to make decisions? And let's look within ourselves. So if you could make a little bit of a hint about that early on, that would help us guess where you're heading and make the meaning of it more meaningful. I like Mirko's voice. He matched his voice to his emotions, his facial gestures also to his emotions. He acted out the middle-aged lady who helped him, both with his voice and with his gestures. I thought that worked very well. I also like the way Mirko moved from left to right gradually as the story unfolded, and then back to the middle as he was coming to the conclusion. So all in all, a beautiful speech with a beautiful message. I suggest give us a bit of a hint about where it's heading from the beginning, that this is going to be a speech about how you get answers to your questions. But a beautiful personal story, developing tension with a bit of humour, gestures and voice, all giving it strength, and the words as well. What a message, Mirko. Keep it up. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Agnes. We've had 3 powerful evaluations, and now I will ask Samir to give us the times of the evaluators.
Just a point of order. Did I give the times for the speeches as well already?
I think so. No, you didn't.
No, I'll do both. How's that?
Okay.
Okay, for our speakers, we had Chris Billington at 7 minutes, 20 seconds, Krishn Ramchurn at 7 minutes, 35 seconds, and Mirko Adamo at 7 minutes, 12 seconds. For our evaluators, we had Andrew Bennett evaluating Chris at 3 minutes and 11 seconds, Theresa Palmer evaluating Krishn at 4 minutes and 9 seconds, and then Agnes Bosovitz evaluating Mirko at 2 minutes, 53 seconds. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. And now back to you to please give us the link for the voting for the best evaluator. Wow, you've got it on hand. Thank you.
I just have a question. Are Krishn and I both out since we went over?
No, this isn't a contest. We're voting best for clubs. So I'm making that call. I could be wrong, but I'm not going to redo the forms. But yeah, if it had been a contest, Theresa, that's a good point. There would have been disqualifications. But I wasn't going to call that out in my report. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, we've got 11 responses in, and we have 16 people present. I should probably vote myself, lead by example.
You've probably got the evaluators who won't vote either, or a bit too shy to vote.
Okay, then we've got 13 of 16. I can call it there if you like, Madam Toastmaster.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We get an opportunity to give feedback, and if we have been focusing, all of us, we have an opportunity to practice our evaluations. So I invite John, hailing all the way from Blackpool in the United Kingdom, to facilitate the open feedback for our speakers. Please welcome John.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Right, well, we do evaluations a bit differently at Excalibur. Hang on, there's something just appeared on my screen which I just need to get rid of. I don't know why that's happened. Just 1 second, please. Okay, I think it's gone. Right, so we do evaluations a bit differently at Excalibur. We have an open feedback session whereby people are invited to give commendations and recommendations from the floor to each speaker. So we have 9 minutes altogether, so that's 3 minutes per speaker. So timer, if you let us have green at 1 minute, yellow at 2, and red at 3 for each speaker, starting from now. So let's start with Chris Billington, who was our first speaker. Does anyone have any commendations for Chris? What did he do really well that he could do more of? Make it even better. Anyone got any commendations? What did Chris do really well? Come on, he did loads of things.
Beverly's Beverly's waving like mad.
Sorry, Beverly, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. You did, Chris. This was such a good speech, but one of the things that just knocked me out is your phrases, your wonderful creative phrases. The nappy full of dirty protest, the too damp middle-aged optimists. This is wonderful stuff. So keep it up.
Thank you very much, Beverly. Any more commendations? Pemma?
Yeah. With Chris, I loved the fact that it was so bold because it was a paint-stripped bear, and it was interspersed with different themes that came in, and I was so taken aback and so engaged. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on now to some recommendations. There'll be more a chance for accommodations later. So let's have any recommendations for Chris. What could Chris do to make it even better? Lynne.
Hi, yeah, Chris. Fabulous speech, very moving, very emotional. There were some funny moments, and I think you could have the one about the flies undone. For me, the flow, it didn't quite flow 100%. So the guy was talking, the priest or whatever, and I don't know, he faced the audience the whole time. But I didn't hear a word, but what I saw and what everyone saw was his flies were undone. It was just that slightly different flow and pacing of that to really make, because I didn't quite hit it first time round, but you just change the pausing and a few words, and I think you'd have it.
Thanks very much, Lynne. Tina.
I was just thinking that, with speeches for competition, showing and not telling usually works better. I'd have liked to have seen the baby swinging rather than him saying the baby, but maybe show us with rocking the baby when the baby was born. The one that I thought that would work out better, showing and not.
Thanks very much, Tina. Thank you. And let's go on for some more final commendations for Chris's speech now. Any final commendations, or you can give another recommendation. Krishn.
Thank you. So it's recommendations.
Okay.
Chris, emotional journey. Thank you for sharing. I sort of forgot my own lines when I was listening to your speech, so shows that it works. One strong recommendation is the facial expressions. There were specific moments where I felt what you were saying in terms of emotions did not reflect on the facial expression you had. So please be mindful of that. Otherwise, I understand it's one of the first iterations of your speech, so keep it on and all the best.
Thanks very much, Krishn. Any final commendations for Chris here? Nothing else? No one else? Going. Yeah, Patricia.
I just want to say that the pausing, that the way you pause at certain points did have a lot of effect in terms of how the listener felt about what you were saying. It really resonated even more because of the timing and the pausing. It made us go on an emotional journey with you, and we felt what you all your feelings whilst going through this period. Yeah, it was very moving.
Thanks very much. Yes, go ahead, Samir.
So as timer, Chris, I was just astonished how cool and calm you were when it hit red, and how as the seconds ticked by, and that it went red right as you raised the red sock, and you just eased in with 20 seconds in to give the conclusion the way that you wanted. You owned it, and you had 10 seconds to spare. I'm in awe of that deliberate delivery. Well done.
Thanks very much, Samir. So if there are no any further recommendations, please send them to Chris via the chat. And let's move on now to our second speaker, Krishn. Any commendations for Krishn's speech? Lynne.
Yeah, there was one expression that he used. I'm not confessing, I'm camouflaging. I really like that. I thought it was a really, really good, very powerful. 2 C's, 2 words, very powerful.
Thank you, Lynne. Anyone else? Any more commendations for Krishn? Andrew.
I think
Go ahead,
we all
Andrew.
enjoyed toast disaster as a piece of vocabulary. Toast disaster rather than Toastmaster was magical. And also, I like the fact that the speech is so cohesive. I like the feeling that when we get to the end of it, there is a feeling of achievement for Krishn, and there's a feeling of achievement for the audience as well. And there's this wholesomeness in a speech that feels cohesive and complete.
Thank you, Andrew. Any more commendations for Krishn? Okay, let's move on to recommendations then, and we'll have more chance for recommendations later. Any recommendations for Krishn? Mirko.
I love the speech and also the previous one. What I like from this speech is, what's the recommendation? Recommendation is that I would like to dig just one moment in your story where it made sense to you, like in the past, the backstory you had. You could use the backstory, telling first the story with your wife, and then you have a trigger in that moment, and you open a door, and you give us the story of your mom. In that story, you have the realization, and you change towards your wife. Otherwise, we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 4 moments. Mom, wife. So I will just separate it in 2 to have it shorten.
Yes, Samir.
Yeah, Krishn, the deliberate avoidance of the word love in the first part of the speech was really striking. But I would have liked a more deliberate introduction that had more meaning and impact than, it's not because I didn't love my wife. That was the first time I heard it used, and it didn't have the kind of land and impact I was expecting from how often it had been avoided.
Thank you, Samir. Any further commendations now for Krishn? Or you could give another recommendation if you wish.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Pemma. Oh, sorry, who
No, I
was
said
that?
Lynne. Lynne.
Lynne. It's me. I'll
Lynne,
go.
go ahead.
Um,
Sorry.
the three words, what I was missing was you never said I love you to your mother, but I never got, and you couldn't say it to your wife. So I didn't quite understand whether, because you were a boy, you never said the words I love you, or was it you never said I love you to your wife because you never said it to your mother? That's the bit I didn't quite get. And I think there's something there about the impact of I never said it to my mother and that had an impact on me on the rest of my life. If it's something like that, I think it might make a bit more meaning for why you couldn't say it to your wife. And that's the bit I didn't quite understand. Theresa was saying, what do you call the title? The title could very well be Three Little Words.
Good. Thanks, Lynne. Any final commendations or recommendations for Krishn? Okay, let's move. And if you've got any of those, just give them to Krishn privately in the chat. So let's move on now to our final speaker, Mirko. Any commendations for Mirko, please? What did you like about Mirko's speech? I particularly like the strong narrative structure throughout the speech. He really kept the whole thing flowing beautifully, and that I was completely enthralled by the whole thing. But there was lots of other things that he did. So, what did you like about it?
I think Beverly had a commendation. Is that
true? Go ahead, Beverly. Sorry, I'm difficult to watch everyone. Go ahead, Beverly.
Actually, mine is a recommendation, so I'll give it anyway.
That's okay.
I first see you and you're standing there and it looks like you're half out the door. As long as you're going to choose to stand for the presentation and you've got the door there and you're talking about, homelessness and living with your parents and stuff, you might use that door.
Okay, thank you very much, Bev. Any more commendations, or it could be recommendations if you wish?
Me.
Yes, go ahead. Difficult to see everyone on the screen. Who is that?
It's Pemma. As a commendation, I agree with Beverly against the standing, but I felt that Mirko used his body really well and his hand gestures, which really blended in with what he was saying. And this is the first time I've seen him do that. It was very effective.
Thank you, Pemma. Anyone else?
Lynne.
Lynne, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go then, Andrew. So this is more of a recommendation. There was look inside ourselves and we'll find something different. We'll rise to the challenge. But I want to understand what you see when you look inside, because at the beginning you're with this little boy that was missing home, and right. So when you look inside, how do you look inside that's different so that you can rise to the challenge? All right. So I think you have to have that little bit of a shift. When you look inside yourself, you have to look at yourself differently with a different pair of eyes. If I look at myself differently, I realize that I can stand up and rise to the challenge. So I think it's about looking inside slightly differently. That's me, Andrew.
Thank you, Lynne. Andrew.
I really enjoyed the use of present tense throughout the speech. I think it gave it an immediacy to the story, so that was absolutely great. I would have liked more of a build-up to this wonderful story about Maria saving Mirko. Can you imagine what it was like? This was Maria coming for me, and then all of a sudden, plunge moment when she says, well, actually, no. I think that could be a bigger contrast that we can play there. And I really encourage Mirko, before he goes into the contest, to say the opening lines of his speech a couple of times over out loud, even if you have to find a corner to do it, because I think it will prepare his articulation for the opening part of the speech and take him into the zone that he needs to be to present the story for us.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Daniel.
Commendation and recommendation in one, to do with the time structure. I really loved the sense of urgency that provided throughout the speech. It was this strong spine that makes it very easy for the audience to follow where you are. My recommendation is also to do with time. Start off with the deadline, 12 hours to go. Give us an impact line that sucks us between the eyes right from the outset, and finish off with time, something like, welcome to day one. or hour one.
Thank you, Daniel. Krishn.
Yeah. One recommendation is with respect to the use of the stage and the body gestures. If I'm not using my hands, if there's no action, I put them down. I would recommend you to watch the recording. And our stage also has depth of movement. So I didn't see you really use the depth, and I assume the space is not adequate, but there are moments, especially with the dialogue, where you're actually lowering your voice, being emotional. You can actually step forward and go back, and that's something to think about as you practice along. But nice speech, man. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any final comments before we wrap up? Okay, well, I think in that case, I'll pass back to our Toastmaster, Pemma. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, John, for a fabulous facilitation, which you've done again. And also to all our speakers who contributed, thank you so much. It was very worthwhile. There's in the chat, Theresa from Alabama has put, Excalibur is quickly teaching me how my evaluations need improvement. And I have to put my hand up for that as well. So I join you there, Theresa. So that was just a little aside. Now, we're at the end of our meeting. Thank you. It's been fantastic. It's been lovely to be the Toastmaster. And I now pass us back to our president, Andrew.
Thank you, Pemma. Now, I know that our club sponsor, one of our club sponsors, we have two, was a little delayed coming to meeting this evening, but I did want to hear a little bit of appreciation of the meeting because she is our general evaluator. So, Lynne, did you have a golden nugget of general evaluation to offer us this evening, please?
I thought we were going to do slightly open feedback general evaluation, so he's putting me on the spot here. But I do have a few little nuggets that I will say, and I do apologise. I got to be 2 hours to come home, so my apologies for that. That was a little bit stressful for me. It's really around the. I want to give credit to Pemma for being our Toastmaster of the day. And I love the way that she introduced the speakers and where each one was from. I think it gives the global in our Excalibur online global speakers, the presence that it deserves. And so I really like that, and the districts that people come from. And I think that was a really interesting piece to know and understand. So Pemma, well done for saying that. I really like that. One thing, a word I will give to the evaluators, and one of my bugbears that I have said before is flicky fingers, right? So maybe what does work if you're speaking online and want to use your hand and you're close to the screen, use one hand. If you start using two, this is what happens. You get little flicky fingers. So use one hand and you get a point across. So one hand is much easier than two. I would be a recommendation. And another recommendation to our evaluators is look down to read, look up to speak. And a couple of you did that. So actually make sure that you do that. Look down to read, look up to speak. And we are an advanced club. So little suggestion for our timer. He was flashing, I don't know what it was. I think it was swords or hammers or whatever when Theresa was speaking. I'm not quite sure what it was. We're an advanced club. My recommendation, sorry, Theresa, but my recommendation would be silence. If you're in charge of the Zoom, we're an advanced club. It's 3.5, not 4.5. We're not gonna. I'm a tough cookie, guys, but yeah, we're an advanced club, and time is time. And so either you bang something so people can hear, or you just put them on silent. And don't be afraid to say in a contest, because these are contest speeches. Absolutely say in a contest you would be disqualified. So, we're an advanced club, so we have to stick to that. And we've had 3 contest speeches tonight, so people need to know. Don't be afraid to say that. Oh, I'm a tough one, aren't I? I'm a tough cookie. But thank you very much. And John, thank you for bringing the open feedback to everybody and getting everybody engaged. I think it's always really good to have open feedback. And if you can't see your screen, my recommendation would be to have someone just like Samir, who's the timer, or someone who's in charge of the Zoom, just to call out the names if you can't see everybody on your screen, just to make it a little bit easier for you. Because at one point, Beverly was waving like mad. But that's my few gems of nuggets in the moments that I had. Thank you, everybody, and back to Andrew.
Thank you so much, Lynne. It's always good to hear from you and the calibre of the comments that you bring to us in this club. I have some results to announce because you've been doing some voting this evening. And I'm delighted to announce that your favourite table topic this evening came from Theresa. Your favourite speech came from Chris. Well done. And you were kind enough to vote for me for your favourite evaluation, but with golden stars also for our Agnes and for our Theresa. I hope that you've enjoyed this meeting. Our next meeting is going to be on March the 11th. And can I also ask you to put in your diary March 25th? Because that is when I'll be presenting Your Expressive Voice, the online voice workshop. It's totally interactive. You're all going to be very, very involved, and we're going to really stretch and experience our vocal variety. This is particular workshop. Some of you may have been to Your Engaging Voice, which is the one I've given over 50 times worldwide. But Your Expressive Voice I've written especially at the request of advanced speakers and experienced speakers. So that's why it's a good thing to come along to. So put the 20th of March in your diary. The 11th of March, I'm delighted to say that as I will be in the air, coming back from my cruise and coming back from Miami in the air, I've asked VPE John to preside the meeting. So I'm sure you're all going to get behind him and back him in that. I don't know what the theme of the meeting will be. He will decide the theme of the meeting. But I'm going to give him a couple of minutes now just to fill in some roles, if you would like, John, for the next meeting. You need to unmute, though.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you. Right, so as Andrew says, I'll be presiding over the next meeting in Andrew's absence, but what we like to do is get some of the roles filled in advance so that I don't have to hassle you all 2 or 3 days before the event and bug you all like mad on WhatsApp. So who would like to be Toastmaster at the meeting of March the 11th? You can just shout out if I can't see you. Any volunteers for Toastmaster? No? Okay, well, you don't have to volunteer now. What about, would anyone like to give a speech at the next meeting?
I'll do a speech.
Yes, who is that speaking?
Will do a speech.
Pemma, thank you. Pemma, thank you. Anyone else for a speech? What about evaluator? Anyone who would like to be an evaluator at the next meeting? No? No takers? You can just shout it out if I can't see you. No, okay, right. Okay, well, I'll have to hassle you then. What about who would like to be the table topics master then?
I'd like to take that. This is Samir, John.
Thank you very much, Samir. And who would like to be our timer? Any volunteers to be timer? If you're a new member, it's a good one to start with. Why not take that? Straightforward. No? No takers for timer? Okay, what about open feedback? Who would like to do open feedback? You will get hassled nearer the time by me if you don't volunteer now.
Can you explain, is that open feedback like you did today?
Yes, basically.
For the 3 speeches where you organise people to speak for recommendations and commendations and so on.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Agnes. I'll put you down for that. That's great. Thank you. So would no one like to be an evaluator? Who would like to be a speech evaluator? Surely someone would like to practice their evaluation skills after attending this wonderful evaluation workshop that we had last time. No? Well, you'll get hassled nearer the time. Thank you, Mirko. And that's speech evaluator, is it? Thank you very much. Thank you. That's more at least. Good. The rest of you will just get hassled nearer the time if you don't volunteer now. May as well take the pain out of it now rather than the apprehension of being approached by me near the time.
I want to jump in and support you, John, and give an opportunity. So any of those guests who are considering joining and want to become a charter member, one of the founding members of Excalibur Online Global Speakers, you can put your hand up for a role, and you got 2 weeks or so to get your membership application in. So don't hesitate. You can be part of the party.
Yes, it's easy to put you on Easy Speak if you're even if you're not a full member. We can just put you in as a special guest, and everything's cool. So anyway, okay, well, not to worry. We'll just get hassled nearer the time, and some of the people who are not here this evening because of other pressing commitments will also be asked, and I'm sure we'll fill up all the roles. We always manage to do it, so I'm sure next time will be no exception. So with that, I'll pass you back to our president, Andrew.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you all about the next meeting and what you've been up to and what you've enjoyed particularly. We are going to draw the meeting to a close in a moment, but I would just like to give our guests the chance to say, in one word, what you thought of this meeting. Gail, you go first. Sum it up in a word. You need to be unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
One word? Oh no, there's so many.
We'll allow you two, maybe.
Oh, amazing evaluations.
Amazing evaluations. Thank you, Gail. We look forward to seeing you back again, and we look forward to you coming into membership. We have your details, so that will be absolutely great.
Thank you.
Daniel, come on, you get 2 words as well.
Potentially discombobulated.
That's incredibly honest, potentially discombobulated. But the more you come along to Excalibur Online Global Speakers, the less discombobulated you become, you see. That's the magic of this club, and that's why it would be great to have you here and to have you come into membership as a charter member. We would love that. So, and also, let me just see. People who's been... Tina is still there. Tina, 2 words from you, please.
2 words, maybe 3. Gripped my attention.
Great, gripped your attention. I'm really pleased because I think that we put a lot of effort into the content of our meetings in this club and the calibre of the speaking and the calibre of the evaluation. So I'm pleased it gripped your attention. Tina, we were so pleased to see you online tonight. So come back to us, please. And we'll be delighted to welcome you into membership. We would love that. And then I think, let me just check. Patricia is there, yes? Patricia, did you have 2 words or 3 words maybe as we were extending?
1 word, inspiring.
Wow.
Inspiring. Oh, we love that word, Patricia. That's true. And you said this was your first meeting as a Toastmaster.
This is my very first meeting, so yeah, thank you for the experience.
Very good. So you're not yet a member of a club anywhere?
No.
Right. I will be in contact with you, Patricia, because I've got your details, okay? I'm going to make some suggestions for you about how you can get involved in Toastmasters. So that would be absolutely great. Been delighted to see you as a guest this evening. Thank you to everybody. It's been a great meeting. We're going to go into a time of relaxation. I'm happy to sit here for 10 minutes if anybody would like an after party. We had an after party last time. If you would like it, I will sit here for 10 minutes and we will chat. But apart from that, I would say that officially this meeting of Excalibur Online Global Speakers is now closed.